inside of the dining hall looked nicer than the regular meal halls too. Look, Xander says, flickering lights in the center of each table simulate an old romantic system of lighting candles. People look at us as we pass among the tables. We're clearly the youngest patrons here. Most of our parents' age or younger couples, several years older than Xander and me, couples newly contracted. I see a few people who are probably singles out on recreational dates, but not many. The boroughs in this area are primarily family boroughs, full of parents and contracted couples and youth under the age of 21. Xander notices that staring and stares back. His arm still linked with mine. Under his breath, he whispers to me, "At least everyone at school is pretty much over our match by now. I hate the watching." I do too. Thankfully, the official doesn't gawk at us. He leads the way through the tables and finds one marked with our names near the back. The waiter arrives with our food almost as soon as we sit down. The simulated candlelight flickers across the round black metal table in front of me. No tablecloths. And the food is recreational food. We'll eat the same thing here that we'd eat at home. That's why it's necessary to book in advance, so the nutrition personnel can get our meal to the right spot. Obviously, dining here doesn't compare at all to the match banquet at City Hall, but it's the second nicest place I've seen and eaten in my life. The food's good and hot, Xander says, as the steam escapes from the foilware container. He peels back the lid and peers inside. Look at my portion. They want me to bulk up so I can give more and more. I glance over at Xander's portion of noodles with sauce. It's enormous. Can you eat all of that? Are you joking? Of course I can, Xander acts offended. I peel back the foilware and look at my portion. Next to Xander's, it seems minuscule. Maybe I'm making this up, but my portion seems to be smaller lately. I'm not sure why. The hiking and running on the tracker keeps me fit. If anything, I should be getting more food, not less. It must be my imagination. The official, looking even less interested than before, twists the noodles from his container on the fork and looks around the room at the other patrons. His food is exactly the same as ours. I guess the myth about certain department officials eating better than anyone else aren't true. Not when they eat in public anyways. How's hiking going? Xander asked me, popping a bite of noodles in his mouth. I like it, I answer honestly, except for today. Even more than swimming, Xander teases me. Not that you ever did much of that, I guess sitting there on the edge. I swam, I tell him, teasing back. Sometimes, anyway. I do like it more than being at the pool. That's not possible, Xander says. Swimming is the best. I heard that all you've been doing at hiking is climbing the same little hill over and over. All you do with swimming is swim around the same little pool over and over. That's different. Water's always moving. It's never the same. Xander comments remind me of what Kai said in the music hall about the song. I guess that's true, but the hill is always moving too. The wind moves things over and the plants grow and change. I fall silent. Our neatly pressed official's head tilts his head listening to our conversation. That's why he's here, isn't it? I move my food around and motion makes me think of writing with Kai. One of the noodles is curved like a C. I have to stop thinking about Kai. Some of the food stubbornly refuses to wrap around my fork. I twirled the utensil around and around, finally giving up, and shoved some noodles in my mouth, and ends up sticking out. I have to slurp them in. Embarrassing. For some reason, my eyes fill with tears. I put down my fork and Xander reaches out to straighten it. As he does, he looks straight in my eyes and I can see that question there as though he speaks out loud. What's wrong? Shaking my head slightly, I smile back at him. Nothing. I glance over at the official. He's momentarily distracted listening to something in his earpiece. Of course. He's still on duty. Xander, why didn't you kiss me the other night? I asked suddenly, since the official isn't listening right at this moment. I should be embarrassed, but I'm not. I want to know. There are many people watching, Xander sounds surprised. I know the official doesn't care since we're matched, but he inclines his head slightly towards the official next to us. It's not the same when you're being watched. How can you tell? Haven't you noticed all the officials on our street lately? Watching my house? Xander raises his eyebrow. Why would they be watching your house? Because I read things I shouldn't read, and I learn things I'm not meant to know, and I might be falling in love with someone else. What I say is, my father. I let my voice trail off. Xander flushes. Of course, I should have realized. It's not that. At least, I don't think so. There's a basic level official police officers. They've been trolling a lot more lately, and not just in our borough, but in all the boroughs. The streets are full of officials. That night, I didn't even know. Kai must have known. Maybe that's why he wouldn't come up to the porch steps. Maybe that's why he's never touched me. He's afraid of being caught. Or maybe it's even more simple than that. Maybe he never wanted to touch me. Perhaps to Kai, I'm only a friend. A friend who finally wants to know his story, nothing more. And at first, that's who I was. I wanted to know more about the boy who lives among us, but who never truly speaks. About what happened before. I wanted to know more about my mistake in match. But no, I feel like finding out about him is one of the ways I find out more about myself. I did not expect to love his words. I did not expect to find myself in them. Is falling in love with someone's story the same thing as falling in love with the person himself?